What up, Long Beach? Welcome back to your home for everything local sports. It's JJ.
And Mike, and this video is brought to you by Naples Rib Company, the perfect place to cater your team's next event.
You double dipped the chip. You took a bite, and then you dipped just like George Costanza. We love the double dip. And in this case, not a bad thing. Not a bad thing when two local football teams play each other on a Friday night because it means good things for pretty much everybody involved.
Well, it's certainly great for the kids if you're talking about this is something we're seeing more and more of, and we really just want to encourage it. This week we've got Los Alamitos versus Lakewood, Milliken versus Gar, Valley Christian versus Bellflower, and Norwalk at Jordan. All 8 of those teams are Press Telegram teams. They're obviously close geographically, and we just think that that's great. You get to see these rivalries kind of develop between these area rivals.
And it's also about relevancy, because as they say in sports, to be the best, you have to beat the best. Well, to be relevant, you have to beat relevant teams. You look at small schools like St. Anthony and Valley Christian, who are both playing multiple local teams. Gar, Bellflower, Wilson. They play each other even. You know what I mean? These are two teams that won CIF titles last year. But to stay relevant, they have got to beat the teams that are in higher divisions than them. And why travel and pay for that travel when you've got let's use an NCAA term, an RPI bump in your backyard?
Well, I think that's something St. Anthony coach Mario Morales talked a lot about the last few years, and I think Valley Christian would say the same thing about playing a team like Gar. Valley Christian's got a couple hundred students, Gar's got a couple thousand, but they played a very competitive, exciting football game last week, and I think you've seen the same thing with St. Anthony and Wilson. St. Anthony knows we want to be a higher division team, we want to bring up the profile of our program, so like you said, let's not go to the Inland Empire. Let's get kids that our kids already know, that our coaches and teachers already know, and let's get them together, and we'll measure ourselves against a more league team like Wilson that went on to go to a CIF semifinal last year.
If you've ever played competitive sports, you know how much more fun they are when you're playing against your friend. I talked to Tino Venegas at St. Anthony, and he said, look, I play every game 100%, but I'll be honest, if I line up at wide receiver and I see my friend at cornerback, I'm giving that extra 10%, because that's what you play for. You play to talk to your friends about playing, and what makes it better than if you get to either beat them or they beat you.
It's a way to get the goals of a player and the goals of coaches to kind of line up with each other. That the kids get that fun, okay, I'm going to go to school tomorrow and everyone's going to know we beat Wilson or we beat St. Anthony, and then the coaches can sort of get that measuring stick and help raise their profile like we talked about as well. It's also, for us, it serves a functional good. We are covering a lot of these double-up games. We're covering Valley Christian Bellflower. We're covering Norwalk Jordan this week. Norwalk and Jordan we would probably not be covering right now if they weren't playing each other. Bellflower the same thing, but when you make it easier for the journalists who cover you to get 2 of the local teams in one game, you're going to see us show up at a lot of those games, especially in the non-league season.
And what's wrong with making a game in August important? You look at Mayfair Wilson. They played for the ESP Cup. They just made that thing up.
They just made it
up. And those kids are dancing with it.
And they're smack-talking each other on Twitter about this cup that their coaches literally made up. It's awesome.
That's fun, man. That's what it's supposed to be about. That's why it's special. And that's what Mayfair coach Derek Bedell said after that game. He said to have Lakewood and Long Beach playing a game this early in the season, that means something is special. And hey, why fight it? Right?
Right, absolutely. I mean, if you look at the history of the non-league schedule in our area, games like the Milk Bucket game between Mayfair and Lakewood, those are the games that you kind of think about. You know, Compton playing Dominguez. They're not in the same league, but because they're close to each other and they're competitive, they end up being exciting, and we just love to see it, and I hope that we continue to see more of it.
Thanks as always to all of our sponsors, including Papalucci's, a great place to eat on 2nd Street. High school football season just getting started. You're going to find all that coverage right here as always, GazetteSports.com and the Press Telegram.